What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday afternoon so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets and in terms of what they might be doing with their reported free agent star, Cam Johnson, going into this offseason. Now, we know that Cam Johnson is going to be the biggest free agent for the Brooklyn Nets to decide on what they're going to do with him after he just completed his previous season where he was traded over to the Nets. And he actually did a pretty good job with the Nets in 27 games. He scored around 18 points per game and also rebounded around 6.7 rebounds per game. So Cam Johnson has played himself to be a guy that the Nets can use to build around going forward. But at the same time, and I spoke about this earlier before, about a couple of months ago, on the reported contract that Cam Johnson could receive in free agency this upcoming offseason, where some believe and some executives believe, according to Michael Scotto of HoopsHype, that he could receive around a 4-year, $90 million deal. And right now he's expected to have a qualifying offer of $8.5 million after he becomes a restricted free agent. So the Nets could obviously offer him the qualifying offer of $8.5 million, but it's obvious he's probably going to turn it down, looking to try to get himself a big payday in free agency. If I'm the Brooklyn Nets right now, after what you've seen in the 27 games he played with the Nets after the trade deadline, as well as what he did in the playoffs, would you be willing to give him a 4-year, $90 million deal? In some ways, I'd honestly say I would, because I do believe that Cam Johnson, once he gets a little bit more acclimated and gets a full season with the Brooklyn Nets, I think he could be a really solid player for this team. He actually averaged 15.5 points altogether with both the Suns and the Nets. Obviously, that point total went up with the Brooklyn Nets because he wasn't on the same team with DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and of course, Devin Booker. So he was able to go out on the Nets and be able to use more of his offensive explosiveness and go put the ball into the net a lot more often. And he connected for 40.4% from the three-point line in 2023 because he was able to stretch the floor as a mismatch at 6'9" on the court and being able to use his length to be able to go over defenders as well as be able to hit that three-point shot on the outside. He has a very good and unique skill set at only 27 years old, just recently turned 27, not that long ago. But the Brooklyn Nets have to really think about, is it the best and proper investment to give somebody like Cameron Johnson the type of deal that he might be looking for this offseason? That's one thing that you have to monitor going forward. Is it going to be worth giving him the type of money that he might be commanding going into this offseason? I mean, right now, you look at the Nets roster at the moment. Obviously, the central pieces on this team is probably Nicholas Claxton, Mikal Bridges, and then, of course, Cameron Johnson. You look at everybody else on this team, and they're probably not going to be part of the foundation going forward. So, at this point, is Cam Johnson a 100% lock to add on to this team going into 2023-2024? Are the Nets going to be comfortable enough giving him the type of money that he's going to be looking for? You have to factor and think about that. Right now, I think some Nets fans might be on the fence of offering him the type of money he might be looking for. Others, they're saying, give him what he needs. Because you look at this team right now and what moves can they make in the offseason that are really going to change the foundation of this basketball team, and also the fact they only played in pretty much 27 games as a team after the NBA trade deadline this past February. What more can you get from this group that you have already? You have to think about that when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets. You have to think about that. So I know he's going to get that $8.5 million in terms of a qualifying offer from the Brooklyn Nets. The question is it going to be warranted enough to really honestly, he's obviously not going to take that, but are the Nets going to be willing to offer him $90 million for a guy that scored around 17, 18 points per game and shot around 40% from the three-point line and probably around 43% from the court? You got to think about that. I'm saying yes. I mean, he's a good defensive player, 6'9", only 27 years old, going into the prime years of his career. Unless the Brooklyn Nets are going to do something that we didn't expect, and they're just going to say, you know what? we're not going to be able to win with this group. We're just going to break it all up, and we're going to go into the offseason, try to get as much draft picks as we can, and go forward with a new type of design. I don't expect the Brooklyn Nets to pretty much just destroy this team that's currently constructed. I don't see it. Anything is possible, though. Anything is possible. So we'll have to wait and see what the Brooklyn Nets are going to do this offseason, how they're going to put together this roster. They have some guys that are going to be free agents. Obviously, Johnson being the biggest one. Then you have somebody else like Seth Curry, who is also scheduled to be a free agent. But I would not be shocked if the Nets end up letting him go. A, because he's probably going to want to play on a team that has a chance to win a championship. And B, because he's going to become an older player now, and he's very limited on the defensive side of the court. So I don't see the Nets being willing to pay him the type of money that he might be looking for in the offseason. So I could see the Nets just saying, you know what? Maybe it might be better that we're just going to let him go. We're going to let him go and do his own thing, and we're just going to worry about the team currently constructed that we have now, and worry about taking care of Cam Johnson, as well as some of our internal guys that we might look to either get extensions to, or see what we can do in terms of making some trades on the roster and trying to upgrade through that route going forward. So, you guys let me know in the comments section what you think about the news surrounding Cameron Johnson. Obviously now, an update report after what was reported earlier before and a couple of months ago about Cam Johnson potentially receiving a 4-year, $90 million deal. And if you believe he deserves this type of deal from the Brooklyn Nets, and that the Brooklyn Nets should make this type of investment in Cam Johnson this offseason, after the playoffs and the regular season concluded, and if you've seen enough for the Brooklyn Nets to give him the type of contract that he's going to be warranting going into this 2023 offseason, and what other moves the Brooklyn Nets could make in correlation with Cameron Johnson going into this offseason. You guys let me know in the comments section. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and give a sub to NYGJeffyT85. More news updates and chatter surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. And like I mentioned before, let me know in the comment section what you think about the recent news about Cam Johnson, the forward on the Brooklyn Nets, potentially earning around $90 million per year on a 4-year deal this upcoming offseason, coming from Michael Scotto of HoopsHype.com. And if you believe it's warranted, and if you do think the Nets are going to give him the type of deal that he's going to be looking for this offseason. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Take it easy, and let's go Brooklyn Nets. As always, it's a Nets world, and we're all just living in it.